Margaret was a simple woman, a cleaning lady with a heart of gold. She worked tirelessly in the large, opulent mansion of the enigmatic and reclusive billionaire, Vincent Hawthorne. Her days were filled with the monotony of dusting priceless antiques, vacuuming plush carpets, and polishing the never-ending sea of marble floors. Margaret was in her mid-40s, her graying hair tied in a neat bun, and her eyes carrying the weight of years spent cleaning up after others. She was unremarkable in appearance, but her warm smile and gentle demeanor were her most defining features. Her simple, worn-out uniform was a stark contrast to the lavish surroundings she found herself in daily. Mr. Vincent Hawthorne was a man shrouded in mystery. He was in his late 50s, with salt and pepper hair, a chiseled jaw, and piercing blue eyes that seemed to see through everything. His suits were always impeccably tailored, his demeanor cold and aloof, creating an aura of intimidation that sent shivers down the spine of those who crossed his path. As weeks turned into months, Margaret couldn't help but steal glances at her enigmatic boss. She couldn't deny the magnetic pull she felt toward him, despite the disparity in their social standing. She had never been one for romantic fantasies, but something about Vincent Hawthorne fascinated her. She daydreamed of him, creating elaborate fantasies where he would notice her, appreciate her, and perhaps, one day, love her. One fateful day, as Margaret was dusting the upstairs corridor, she noticed something unusual. A section of the wall seemed out of place, as if it concealed a hidden chamber. Her curiosity got the best of her, and she gently pushed against the ornate wall panel. To her astonishment, it swung open to reveal a dimly lit room, filled with an array of disturbing photographs. Margaret gasped as her eyes scanned the grotesque images in the room. Each photograph depicted a dead body in the most gruesome state, the life drained from their eyes, and the faces twisted in agony. She recoiled in horror, her heart racing, her hands trembling. Terrified and horrified, Margaret couldn't comprehend the evil hidden within the walls of this mansion. She knew she had stumbled upon something unimaginable, something that could cost her life if Vincent ever discovered her secret. Margaret decided she couldn't keep her discovery a secret. She had to learn more about her boss and the disturbing room hidden in his mansion. She began her investigation quietly, spending her nights researching Vincent Hawthorne's background. She learned that he was a prominent businessman known for his charities and philanthropy. He was respected and admired by the world, and his public image was spotless. Margaret couldn't reconcile the man she saw in the photographs with the man she saw every day. She knew what you've stumbled upon, Margaret. Ignorance is bliss, they say, and you should have heeded that advice. Terrified and unsure of whom to trust, Margaret decided to take matters into her own hands. She needed evidence, something concrete that would expose Vincent's gruesome secret to the world. As she snooped around the mansion, she discovered that Vincent had a secret safe in his study. The key to unlocking it was a mystery, and Margaret realized it was her only chance to uncover the truth. One night, when Vincent was away on business, Margaret managed to locate the hidden key to the safe. She cautiously opened it and found a series of confidential documents, each more damning than the last. They contained evidence of Vincent's involvement in a network of organized crime, human trafficking, and serial murder. She took photographs of the documents, securing the evidence she needed to expose Vincent's sinister activities. But her discovery came at a great cost. Margaret had tipped off Vincent's suspicions, and he was now watching her every move. As Margaret continued her covert investigation, Vincent's scrutiny of her intensified. He began to grow increasingly paranoid, suspecting that Margaret was onto him. Margaret, in turn, felt like a hunted animal, knowing that her every step was being monitored. One evening, as Margaret was in the forbidden room, she discovered a folder that contained photographs of her. Fear gripped her heart as she realized that Vincent had been secretly photographing her, documenting her every action. Her life was now in imminent danger. Desperation pushed Margaret to the brink. She knew she had to escape the mansion and expose Vincent's crimes to the authorities. With the evidence she had gathered, she contacted a journalist she trusted, Alex, who had a reputation for exposing corruption and crime. She arranged to meet him in secret. On a stormy night, with thunder rumbling and rain pouring down, Margaret made her escape. She left behind a letter for Vincent, telling him she had uncovered his secret and was going to the authorities. With her heart pounding, she slipped out of the mansion, making her way through the dark and winding forest that surrounded the estate. As she trudged through the mud and rain, her thoughts were filled with fear and determination. She had to expose the truth, no matter the cost. Margaret met with Alex in a dimly lit cafe on the outskirts of town. She handed him the incriminating evidence, explaining the horrors she had witnessed in Vincent's mansion. Alex listened intently, his eyes widening with shock as he went through the documents and photographs. "This is big, Margaret, but it's also dangerous. We need to get this to the right people and protect you," he said. Margaret nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. She had taken a leap of faith, and now her life was hanging by a thread. She couldn't help but worry about Vincent's reaction to her escape and the betrayal she had initiated. Back in the mansion, Vincent discovered Margaret's letter and her escape. His face contorted with rage as he read her words, and he realized the extent of the damage she could do to his carefully constructed facade. In his mind, Margaret had crossed a line, and she had to be silenced. Vincent set his plan in motion. He used his vast resources to track Margaret's whereabouts, making sure she would never be able to expose him. He dispatched his henchmen to find her and bring her back to the mansion, dead or alive. Margaret and Alex knew they were in grave danger. They had to stay one step ahead of Vincent's reach. They decided to go into hiding, seeking protection from law enforcement and other trustworthy allies. Margaret's life was now a nightmarish game of cat and mouse, with Vincent as the relentless predator. Weeks turned into months as Margaret and Alex moved from one safe location to another, always on the run, always looking over their shoulders. Fear gnawed at their souls, and the weight of the truth they carried was an ever-present burden. The day of reckoning was approaching. Margaret and Alex knew that they couldn't run forever. They had to face Vincent and bring him to justice. They had gathered enough evidence to expose him, but Vincent was not one to surrender easily. One evening, as they were hiding in a secluded cabin deep in the woods, Vincent's henchmen found their hideout. The ensuing confrontation was brutal, as Margaret and Alex fought for their lives against the ruthless mercenaries. Margaret, who had once been a humble cleaning lady, now found herself in a gruesome battle for survival. She fired a gun she had acquired for protection, hitting one of the henchmen, but she knew that they were outnumbered. In the midst of the chaotic struggle, Vincent himself appeared at the cabin. His cold, calculating eyes bore into Margaret, and he revealed his true intentions. "You should have never meddled in my affairs, Margaret. You were just a cleaning lady, but now you've become an obstacle that I must eliminate." With the barrel of a gun aimed at Margaret, Vincent's true malevolence was unveiled. He had no remorse, no guilt, and no shred of humanity left in him. The chilling revelation of his evil nature sent shivers down Margaret's spine. In the cabin, a deadly showdown erupted. Margaret and Alex fought for their lives, using every ounce of strength and wit they possessed. Bullets flew, and the walls echoed with the sound of gunfire. Margaret's heart pounded as she realized that she had no choice but to confront the monster that was Vincent. In the midst of the chaos, Margaret and Alex managed to gain the upper hand. A stray bullet grazed Vincent's arm, and the pain seemed to snap him out of his cold composure. He dropped his weapon, his face contorted with anger. Margaret and Alex knew that they had to act quickly. They restrained Vincent, and with the evidence they had gathered, they called the authorities. Vincent was arrested, and the horrors he had committed were exposed to the world. As the dust settled and Vincent was led away in handcuffs, Margaret couldn't help but reflect on the life lessons she had learned. She had ventured into the darkest corners of human nature and had emerged with a newfound understanding. She had seen that evil could lurk in unexpected places, behind the polished facade of respectability. But she had also discovered the resilience of the human spirit, the strength that could be found in the unlikeliest of individuals. With Vincent behind bars, Margaret and Alex could finally breathe a sigh of relief. The truth had been revealed, and justice had been served. Margaret returned to her simple life, no longer the unassuming cleaning lady, but a symbol of courage and tenacity. In the end, Margaret had not only uncovered a dark secret, but had also discovered her own strength and resilience. She had faced the unimaginable and had come out on the other side, stronger and wiser. The story of Margaret and her battle against evil served as a stark reminder that appearances could be deceiving and that the human spirit could triumph over even the most sinister of forces. It was a lesson in the power of courage and determination, a lesson that Margaret would carry with her for the rest of her days. After the harrowing confrontation at the cabin, Margaret and Alex were left with scars, both physical and emotional. They were taken to the hospital for treatment, and news of Vincent Hawthorne's arrest spread like wildfire. The authorities had uncovered the depths of his crimes, and the public was horrified. Margaret's life had taken a dramatic turn. She became a symbol of bravery in the face of evil, and reporters and journalists hounded her for interviews. She was hesitant to speak publicly at first, fearing for her safety, but she knew that her story could serve as a cautionary tale. Margaret's own family, who had no idea about her involvement in such a dangerous situation, were shocked by the revelations. Her estranged daughter, Sarah, reached out to her for the first time in years, wanting to reconnect. Margaret's newfound fame and the need to rebuild her life provided her with a chance to mend old wounds. As Margaret's life settled into a new routine, she couldn't help but reflect on her past. She realized that her own humble beginnings had a parallel with Vincent Hawthorne's upbringing. He too had come from modest roots, but his path had taken a dark turn. Margaret remembered her own struggles, the hard work she had put in to make ends meet and provide for her family. She had always believed in the power of kindness and decency, and this contrasted sharply with the evil that Vincent had chosen. This realization only strengthened her resolve to share her story as a testament to the importance of making the right choices in life. The trial of Vincent Hawthorne was a highly publicized event. Margaret and Alex were called to testify as witnesses, and they were forced to relive the horrors they had experienced. Vincent's defense team tried to paint them as delusional or unreliable witnesses, but the evidence against him was overwhelming. The legal battle was emotionally draining for Margaret, and she began to question the price of seeking justice. The glare of the public eye and the courtroom drama took a toll on her, and she longed for a return to a simpler life. In the end, the jury found Vincent guilty of his heinous crimes. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, ensuring that he would never again pose a threat to society. With the trial over and justice served, Margaret and Alex decided to use their newfound platform for good. They dedicated themselves to raising awareness about the issues they had uncovered, from organized crime to human trafficking. They also started a foundation to support victims and survivors of such crimes, offering them the help and support they desperately needed. Margaret's relationship with her daughter, Sarah, continued to improve. They slowly rebuilt the trust that had been eroded over the years, and Margaret realized the importance of nurturing family bonds. She had learned the hard way that life was too short to hold grudges. Margaret had once been a simple cleaning lady, but now she had a new purpose in life. She traveled the country, sharing her story and the lessons she had learned. Her words inspired others to be vigilant and to stand up against evil in all its forms. She also found solace in the company of Alex, and their friendship deepened into a strong bond. They worked together to make a difference in the world, channeling the strength they had discovered during their ordeal. The families of Vincent's victims finally had a semblance of closure. They learned the gruesome truth about what had happened to their loved ones, and they could mourn knowing that justice had been served. Margaret and Alex provided them with the support and compassion they needed to heal. It was a long and painful process, but seeing the relief and gratitude in the eyes of the victims' families gave Margaret and Alex a sense of purpose and fulfillment. Margaret and Alex continued to investigate the extent of Vincent's criminal network. They discovered that he had numerous accomplices and connections to powerful individuals who had shielded him from the law. The web of corruption was vast, and it took all their resources and determination to expose the full truth. Their relentless pursuit of justice put them in dangerous situations, but they were undeterred. Margaret had faced the darkest depths of evil, and she was now on a mission to ensure that it was eradicated. Margaret and Alex's efforts to dismantle the criminal network led to arrests and convictions of many individuals involved. Their work drew the attention of law enforcement agencies, and they were recognized for their unwavering dedication to justice. Despite the risks and challenges they faced, Margaret and Alex felt a sense of fulfillment in knowing that they were making a difference in the world. They had become heroes in their own right, not seeking recognition or glory, but simply the satisfaction of knowing they were on the right side of the battle. Throughout her journey, Margaret had learned that the human spirit was incredibly resilient. She had emerged from the darkest of situations, and with the help of her newfound purpose, she had transformed herself into a beacon of hope for others. Her story served as a reminder that even in the face of unimaginable evil, individuals could find the strength to stand up, speak out, and make a positive change in the world. It was a lesson in resilience, courage, and the enduring power of the human spirit. As the years went by, Margaret and Alex's work continued, and they built a legacy of hope and justice. The memory of Vincent Hawthorne and the horrors he had inflicted on innocent lives began to fade, replaced by the stories of survivors and the heroes who had brought their tormentor to justice. Margaret had come a long way from her days as a cleaning lady. She had become a symbol of strength, resilience, and the unwavering pursuit of justice. Her story would live on, inspiring others to stand up against darkness and to never underestimate the power of a single individual to make a difference in the world. The tale of Margaret's transformation from a simple cleaning lady to a crusader for justice was a testament to the indomitable human spirit and the capacity for change, even in the face of the darkest of challenges. It was a story of hope and the belief that, with determination and courage, anyone could be a force for good in the world.